Welcome to the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing for Monday, December 3rd. This is Gina Palma. Over the last 2 weeks, we've seen appreciable amounts of precipitation across many areas of the Great Basin, with the exception of southern and eastern areas. In many areas, as you can see in the image on the right, has seen above normal precipitation, especially in the Sierra and over parts of the Utah Mountains and into southern Idaho, northern Nevada, and northwest Utah. Over the last 72 hours, we've seen new snowfall over mainly the northern half of the Great Basin and over the higher terrain of much of Utah. Many areas have only seen a few inches, but there are some areas in the Sierra, the higher terrain of Idaho, and parts of northern Utah, far northern Nevada, and into Wyoming that have seen above 6 inches of new snowfall. The snow depth is in the image on the right, and you can see the highest snow depth is over the central and northern Sierra, and also over parts of central Idaho into eastern Idaho, Wyoming, and northern Utah. In all of these areas, really snowfall is above normal for the time of year over the Sierra and over parts of Utah, and near normal across much of the rest of the Great Basin. The only area that's really below normal for the time of year for snowpack is up over central Idaho. The satellite loop from this morning has an upper level area of disturbance over eastern Idaho and Wyoming, generating some light showers today. Otherwise, high pressure will return to the area with generally easterly flow across the region before another storm approaches the area by Tuesday, Wednesday. Looking at the weather pattern for later today, we do have that system exiting the area with pushing much of the precipitation over the northern Rockies by later today, and we'll be in between systems today across much of the area with drier conditions. We will also have some easterly flow at the surface levels, which will be very light across the region. Therefore, we will have poor dispersion region-wide. Looking at the transport winds, again, you can see these very light easterly winds across much of the Great Basin. We still have some breezy winds, around 20 miles per hour or so, over eastern Idaho, western Wyoming, down into the Uintas as that main system exits. Also, mixing heights will generally remain low to moderate across the Great Basin. On Tuesday, this area of low pressure off the coast starts to move further east, pushing mainly some cloud cover out across the Great Basin in advance of this system, and we won't see any strong winds with this system, so generally light winds, poor dispersion, even as the area of low pressure approaches the Great Basin. Looking at the transport winds, again, you can see maybe a little bit of a pickup in some of the areas of higher terrain, but at the surface levels, still strong inversions in place and light winds. Mixing heights will remain low region-wide. As we move into Wednesday, this trough of low pressure starts to slide a little bit further south along the west coast, and we will see some precipitation moving into the Great Basin. However, it will be on the lighter side, mainly across parts of northern Utah, northern and western Nevada, with mainly cloud cover initially down over southern regions. Again, poor dispersion and light winds are expected on Wednesday as well. Looking at the transport winds, again, with only a few spots in the higher terrain of some breezy winds, especially over southern Idaho, main areas will see very light winds. And again, mixing heights will remain very low over the northern two-thirds of the Great Basin and only moderate in the far south. Looking at the forecast clearing index for Utah, you can see generally low to moderate clearing indices today across the region, but as we move into Tuesday, Wednesday, and winds become much lighter, we will also see a very poor clearing indices across all areas of Utah. The forecast amount of precipitation over the next few days, again, very light precipitation expected as we get into Wednesday over parts of northern Nevada, northern Utah, and a little bit better chances in the Sierra of seeing some appreciable snowfall. We will also see again today those light showers over the eastern side of the Great Basin as well. As we move into Thursday, the area of low pressure starts to move into southern California, so we will see some lighter precipitation even over the southern half of the Great Basin with dry conditions further north. We'll still again continue to see poor dispersion as kind of in the neck of this trough of low pressure, we will see much lighter winds continue across the area. As we move into Friday, we start to see this system move eastward into Arizona, so we will see some light precipitation over eastern areas of the Great Basin, but a ridge of high pressure will move into the west coast behind it, therefore warmer and drier conditions, or at least drier conditions are expected over northern and western areas, with a return to lighter northerly flow. We will continue to see poor dispersion. On Saturday, that ridge moves across the Great Basin, so again, much lighter winds, dry conditions, and poor dispersion. And then as we move into Sunday, that ridge is starting to get pushed off to the east as a stronger trough of low pressure approaches the northwest coast. We may see a little bit of wind increase over parts of the northern Sierra into Oregon, but as far as the Great Basin, still lighter winds on Sunday region-wide with, again, very poor dispersion, especially in the north and west side of the basin, and moderate further south. The forecast amounts of precipitation as we go from Thursday through Sunday are generally showing over the southern areas of the Great Basin. As that trough moves through, we will see some lighter amounts, with even possibly some heavier amounts over southeast Utah and the Arizona Strip. Looking at the 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us into the second week of December, generally near normal temperatures and above normal precipitation is expected. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back on Wednesday for the latest updates.